Hello there, Sir from 17 once again. This is my Uncharted 2 Remastered Brutal walkthrough. This is the 17th level, it's called Mountaineering. There is a bunch of platforming here, a bunch of watching this dude. I'm going to trim out a lot of the waiting moments as best I can, and then there's going to be an encounter against the Yetis, which, they're not difficult, but they're long. And I didn't know whether or not it was a timed battle or it was a damage battle, and I think it's about shooting the creature. You need to shoot it a certain amount of times, and you can do a little bit of both. You're going to see me do a little bit of both, and I never died on the moment, which should give you faith, but at the same time you can get really unlucky if it combos you a bit too much. And some of the detection on the combo is straight up from fucking Bloodborne, dude. The thing swings, you roll under its arm and it still punches you. It's like so stupid. But just to add a little thing to what I was mentioning in the last video, I think joking about something serious can take the edge away from it. And I think I'm one of those people that advocates, you know, everything can be funny in context. I don't like giving something too much power, especially something that at this moment in time is a disease, you know, an ailment we cannot cure that is really, really sad. It's like one of the worst things that can happen to a human being. But at the same time, I don't want to give it all that power of it being a hushed word that's never mentioned in a crowded room. Fuck that. You know, fuck Alzheimer's. It's a douchey move. And if there was a god, he would have never invented it. So fuck him too. But, like, I am just of that mindset of, if we can make a joke of it like I just did then, it takes that power away from it. And I think there's a lot of people that will never understand that and don't believe in that and don't want that, and that's perfectly fine. But for me, like, if I can't joke about something, why am I alive? Because it's so much better to laugh than it is to cry. I think so. Unless you're really full of tears and you need to have a good cry. And men do have good cries, they just lie about them. But this level is really, really interesting. I think it's a beautiful looking level, and I think it's a very bizarre change of pace. When I first played the game, I thought the pacing was way off. I thought when it just hit a brick wall here, we'd just gone through all that crazy train stuff, it went absolutely nuts. I didn't understand why we went from that super slow, wounded Nathan Drake in the train area, with all the snow and the guards, to then another slow area. It didn't make sense to me. I felt like that was slow enough of a convalescence that we could go back on into a crazy moment. So for me, this didn't make sense, this particular part. As soon as we get to the temple, it made a little bit more sense. But I always felt like that this moment was a bit more padding than anything else when I first played. Now that I've come back to it, I really don't mind it so much. It's definitely a U-turn into a much slower sequence, and it does speed up again and it does get crazy again. It's a very definitively felt pacing shift, and some of the other ones I felt they did it a bit more graceful. But you know, it's cool, it's pretty cool, and there's some really tough stuff coming up, really awkward stuff as well, which there's too much luck based thing. Oh, by the way, you know, if you run and jump onto that rope and then you immediately jump afterwards, you will not have enough momentum to finish that jump and you will fall and die. I do that almost every time I play this level, because I'm super impatient, and in a lot of games just hitting the rope would have pushed you far enough forward to jump off it again, but apparently on this one it wants you to go back and forth a little bit, which is why I did that. And no doubt I'm going to get the dude in the comment like, I did it first time. Like, I'm sure you did. You can breathe underwater as well. You know, you can dive off a building, land on your face, and, you know, come out smiling, because you're just a fantastic human being that does everything fantastically, because you're a godly gamer, and, you know, you click on your YouTube videos and you don't have any. But you're so good at everything. Why don't you have videos, Mr. Great Gamer Man? But it is a cool mission, and I like snow levels. This is a fantastic camera angle, by the way. That is amazing. Can you remember when that was happening a lot in the PlayStation 3 games, and then it just vanished? Where did it go? Where did that creative cinematography go? I would like it back. There was a fantastic one in God of War 3, where there is I forget the name of it. Is it a Manticore? I forget his name. It might be a Chimera. I will never remember the name of it. It's an enemy that's got like multiple heads and shit, and he's sat on the foreground, and the foreground starts moving just like that. And it was super cool. You're like, oh my god, that's so good. And then this did it, and then it's gone. I miss it. Come back, damn it. I love things like that, though. Really creative use of perspective. And you know a game that had creative use of perspective but completely fucked it up? Castlevania Lords of Shadow. That is a game that tried to have really crazy artsy angles for things, and all it did was fuck up the gameplay. Like, that is exactly how you don't do perspective shifts. Because it was awful for that. But this is the Yeti, and he's Apollo Creeding art, poor chapu, and here he comes. So right now I'm thinking, I'm going to play Ring of the Roses around this rock. We're going to just circle around it. We're going to play Tig or Tan, depending on where you're from. And he's not going to have any of this. And he jumps down, and I try and cut him off, and he tries and cuts me off. And then it's like, I'm going to wait for him to punch, and I'm going to roll. And he does the jump, and I roll instead. Put a few bullets on him. He misses me then, because he got a bit overzealous. We call that as doing an Aiden, which is a very old term for when he was playing Halo 3, and he used to punch prematurely in the multiplayer and miss. Because if you've ever played that game, half the meta of Halo 3 was running directly at your opponent, shooting them with the assault rifle, and then punching them with it. And they were doing the same thing to you, so whoever had the best internet connection would land the melee attack first and would win. And I didn't like playing Halo 3 for that very reason. But then again, I never really liked running at people with the assault rifle because I don't like that gun. And if you're wondering, I am covering Halo 5. It will be solo legendary. I'm hoping it's very difficult, but it probably won't be. So, once again, I'm trying to time this guy out, thinking it's a timer, when I really think it's damage. I think you have to put enough bullets in this dude for it to skip to the next sequence, but I do a combination of both. You see, that dude didn't even hit me. Straight up, Clubber Lang range, nutter. Get away. And then he does this. Is this where yeah, this is the end, I think. You know you've come to the end because Chapu helps. But he's still laid out, so that's not the end then. Just another one of those crazy cutscenes. And I think this is my least favourite Yeti encounter, because all the other ones, you can kind of do something during it. This is just shoot this thing that doesn't die. That stunned him. Like, can you imagine if you could kneecap him? Just like shoot his kneecap and it staggers him a little bit, then shoot him in the face, kneecap face, and just loop him. That'd be funny. Here he comes. I mean, he's so weird. Such a strange enemy. Where did he come from? Like, we know Yetis probably don't exist, although I wish they did. But the game's just like, all of a sudden, he's a crazy Yeti, he lives in Tibet, and there's more of him. And then they've introduced those blue fellas in Shambhala, who have, I don't even know how they rationalise it, because it's been a long time, but I assume it's something to do with that blue resin. Like, they ate the blue resin, they became blue people, and they're really strong and whatever. So now is when the fella helps you, and this is the end of this sequence. But 2 supernatural elements in the game, I never got that. I always thought it should have been one or the other. Like, I really like the blue guys now, so I would have liked it if there were no Yetis and there were just the blue guys. Like, I don't think this section needs a Yeti fight. I don't think it makes it better. It just kind of makes it longer. And then there's a couple of other standoffs that you do. It could have easily have been a different animal. An animal that existed. I don't know. But there could be a story reason why they're there and why they're very important that you have to read the collectibles to know, which I just haven't done, unfortunately. But I just... How do you feel, guys, about the 2 different ludicrous supernatural elements? By the way, do not jump at this if he's grabbing it, because you'll just miss and die. I've done that many times. Pick the gun up and then shoot the box, and it's going to give you a way to jump across there. I always go across here, though, and pick up this treasure. I don't know why. It's just one of those things that I seem to do. You will not find all the treasures with this walkthrough. I don't know if you've not noticed. I'm not a collectible guy at all. It's one of those things that I find immensely boring these days. But there's tons of that on YouTube anyway. Tons of really successful people who do it. Some of them have even started making walkthroughs, the cheeky bastards. But I suppose that's what YouTube's about, isn't it? Everybody does what they want. And, you know, you make your own tube. But this is pretty much the end of the level. And just to cap it off, I felt that the supernatural presence in Uncharted 3 was better than the one in this, because there was only one instance of it, and it was those crazy fire people that turned out to be a mass hallucination, which I thought was great. But in all the reviews I read for that game, they felt like it was shoehorned in because it should be there, because it's always kind of been there. But I felt it was more natural than the ones in this one. What do you guys feel about that? But thanks for watching, and you take care now.